What's going on, movie fans? Welcome to Movie Rounders Live here on Facebook and YouTube. I'm Matthew, Bethany, Daniel, and Tony over there. And we got some great topics for you today, some stuff that's going on in the movie news and some things that we just wanted to talk about. So we got the NBA and Major League Baseball about to kick back off, hopefully football right around the corner. So we thought, let's talk about our favorite sports movies. So we're going to start with Bethany down below.
Sports movies. If you've seen any of our past reviews, you've seen me wear two jerseys, and only one is a movie, Mighty Ducks. All three of them, even though I think number 2 is my favorite. I love the Mighty Ducks. They're fun movies. They're not really accurate to hockey from everything I've understood from watching hockey for the past 3 months until it all shut down. But they're fun movies. They're supposedly like a reboot at Disney Plus going on with it, with Emilio Estevez and some of the original cast coming back now that they're all adults and everything. So I'm very excited about that. I hope it comes to fruition. But you can't get wrong with Mighty Ducks. They're fun. I watch them literally all the time just to pass the afternoon or anything like that.
I love the Mighty Ducks myself. D2 is definitely my favorite of the trilogy itself.
Same.
3 just had Emilio Estevez go away a little bit, let shine more on the kids, but
yeah,
you definitely missed his presence.
Who's your favorite one, Matt?
I was a big kid. I was a big kid growing up, so I got to go with Goldberg. He was
okay.
The funniest. He was the goalie, and he got his time to shine in the third one.
I like our cake eater Banks. Cake eater. Yep, my favorite.
Cool. So everybody, don't forget, we also do live chatting over here on this side. If you guys want to bring in your live comments, we'll show them. Tell us your favorite sports movie. As we're going to move on to Daniel. Daniel, what's your favorite sports movie?
Okay, hands down, my absolute favorite sports movie, because I don't really care for sports, but this movie, it moved me in a lot of ways. It was great. The acting, the intensity of it, the drama, the look of the film, the color grading, the acting, the scenes, everything looks so authentic and great. It is, to me, the quintessential sports movie, and that is Hoosiers with Gene Hackman and Dennis Hopper. And let's see, Barbara Hershey was in that as well. But that movie, the acting, it's just really good. I mean, it's set in the Midwest, I think like back in the 60s. It's about underdogs who overcome adversity, and it's just one of the best movies ever. And it's hard to argue. Gene Hackman in that day was probably the best actor in his day, in my opinion. I mean, he's just, any movie he's in, he's going to bring it 100%. And you can count on it to be a good performance, and it delivers. I don't know, how do y'all feel about Hoosiers? Anybody seen that?
The long socks and short shorts, basketball movie. It's really good. It's good. I enjoy it.
Yet again, it's a movie that I haven't seen.
You gotta see it. It's amazing.
Tony, what'd you think of Hoosiers?
I liked it. I mean, I remember it. I'm not a big basketball fan or any other sport other than football, so. But I remember seeing it, liked it. Gene Hackman did good. So.
All right, Tony, hit us with your favorite sports movie.
Is that my segue into my sports?
It is. It won't be Hoosiers, I'm guessing.
Yeah, it wouldn't be Hoosiers, but it's close. We're going back to that time period. For me, it's kind of a tie between two. One would either be the Rocky series, the first Rocky, great underdog kind of comeback story. I remember as a kid, when was Rocky? It was in the 80s at some point. So I was
76.
Oh, gosh. I'm thinking the second or third one then. But yeah, the original Rocky, I would have been 8 or 9 in that era when I was watching it. So I remember seeing it and thinking it was a great underdog. And I loved when you go back now, it still kind of holds up when you watch it. So for me, I still like it. I don't like some of the other ones that kind of came down the line after it, but the original one I thought was really good. But for something that was unexpected, but also really liked, was The Natural with Robert Redford. I mean, this is Robert Redford in his heyday, telling an epic story, a period piece And then when you get that ending scene where he cracks that, the first hit, he breaks his bat, and that's his lucky bat, and he looks at that kid, he goes, "Go pull me a winner." And they pull out the Savoy Special, that bat and when he hits and knocks that puppy out of the thing, that music kicks in, and who was the guy that did the music on that? Randy Newman. Randy Newman did the music, and it has that epic kind of horns that kick in, and you got the pyrotechnics of the sparks coming out. I still get chills when I think about that scene. I'm not a big baseball fan either, just like basketball, but that movie I was really impressed with. So for me, it's probably going to end up being The Natural.
The Natural.
Can't argue with acting. Robert Redford is brilliant.
Yeah, and he's in his heyday. I mean, I think Kim Basinger, or young Kim Basinger, is in this. I mean, a lot of big players are in the movie, and but for me, it was great.
So for my favorite sports movie, I had three that immediately came to mind. I thought about Miracle, which, of course, the real life story of the Miracle on Ice. The movie was done so well, and Herb Brooks's speech in that movie just gives you chills each time. Then I thought about Major League, because I love everything about Major League. It's when they play Wild Thing and he comes out, it's just so good. But my overall favorite movie would definitely have to be a football movie, and my favorite football movie is The Replacements. Keanu Reeves, Shane Falco. It's everything that I love about the game of football. If it were to go that way, you have rich millionaires who are making all this money and they want more and all this, so they decide to go on strike, so they have to get scabs to play, and they go out and they find guys who just want to play the game just for the fun of playing the game. John Favreau is great in it. Keanu Reeves is the quarterback. It's got funny moments. The guys really bond together. Where else are you going to get a movie where they sing I Will Survive in a Jail Cell and do a whole dance number? Everything about The Replacements is great. It's a great underdog, build yourself up kind of story, and it's definitely my favorite sports movie of all time.
Just saying, Remember the Titans also has a dance moment too. So
It does. Remember the Titans is definitely up there.
Yeah, such a great movie.
So with that in mind, we're going to switch on over to some of the movie news that has come out here. Indiana Jones 5 has a new director. Looks like James Mangold is going to take the directing chair for this one. So instead of how do you think the movie's going to be or any of that stuff, I just thought if you were going to reboot the Indiana Jones franchise, who would you want to star as your new Indiana Jones? So, Tony, you seem to love Indiana Jones. Who's going to be your guy?
That's a tough one because Harrison Ford is such a hard character to follow. I mean, I'd have to look at that and see. Probably, if we're thinking current actors, I'm thinking about the age group. It depends on if we're rebooting him young or is he coming in. But I would say maybe Chris Pratt, somebody like that. Somebody that's got a little bit of a comedic kind of spin to him, but he's also got an edge now that he's gotten older and more mature in his acting. He's lovable, but he's also he's got a side to him for the stunts. Doesn't take himself quite so serious. I think if I was thinking about it, somebody like a Pratt would probably be where I would probably lean toward. And now he's got all this fame coming off all the Guardian of the Galaxy stuff, so probably something
And
like that.
Jurassic World.
Yeah.
All right, Daniel, who's your new leading Indiana Jones?
Okay, well, I think that it would be just so easy to go with like your basic stud muffin, dude that everybody's like in love with. But like, I feel the same way. I think it needs to be somebody that's got some personality, somebody that's able to act and do a wide range of personality wise and connecting with the audience. So for me, I'm going to go with Aaron Paul. I think he would be brilliant. I think he could handle the dramatic range as we've seen through Breaking Bad. And we can, you could also say, well, he's done like comedic stuff, even inside of Breaking Bad. He's done several series now on HBO. And, but anyways, to me, Aaron Paul is the man. So that's who I choose.
I love Aaron Paul.
Yeah,
And
he'd be great.
just to go with my answer here.
Hey, I'm confused. Isn't he the short guy though?
From Breaking Bad. Yeah.
He's Breaking
He's
Bad.
brilliant.
And he's in the new season of Westworld.
Yeah, he's brilliant. He's got a lot of range, comedic range, personality.
I just don't know if he has
The stature.
How tall is Tom Cruise is
Short
5'2",
people can't
right?
be
So I mean, come on.
action heroes. Tony, is that what you're saying?
I'd like to see him standing next to Harrison Ford and see what we're talking about here.
Harrison Ford's like what?
Taller than Harrison
He's
Ford.
6'4".
Yeah.
Oh.
Harrison Ford's 6'4". He's a pretty big dude.
So I don't know.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna make this
5'2".
Yeah, Aaron Paul's not that. He's not that tall. I'm gonna make this very simple.
Hopkins 4'9".
I'm gonna go with how about nobody and just leave it alone. It might be a cop-out answer, but I mean, Indiana Jones was done after The Last Crusade. I don't know. I mean, I guess money-wise is why they do it, why they brought back a fourth one, and people seem to really hate the fourth one. So why do it again? Steven Spielberg has already bailed. Who knows what you're going to get from Harrison Ford in a new one? Would he give enough of a performance to even pass the torch to somebody? They attempted to do it with Shia LaBeouf. That failed, and he was at the height of his career. So I'm just going to say just kill the franchise already. There's no need to drag it on.
I totally disagree.
Leave well enough alone.
Yeah,
I would not kill the franchise. There's so much story to be told in that era, that universe, and nothing else. You could say the Jurassic Parks kind of get close, but there's not a lot of movies in that vein. So there's been some female movies that try to do it, but I mean, there's not a lot of that kind of storytelling. I think there's room for it. I think Harrison Ford was iconic, and if you brought someone else in, the right person, that story has got legs.
Yeah.
Right. So
Female movies being like the Tomb Raider movies, or
I mean, what's the last one just came out with a girl that starred in she was in the Android movie. She was in a movie where she played AI. It was
Alicia Vikander?
Yeah, you're talking about Ex Machina.
Yeah, she was in the new Tomb Raider. She's the reboot of Lara Croft now.
Some of that stuff. That's the holy, but you've got that kind of adventure kind of thing. So
yeah,
there's a lot of stuff happening in that realm. So I think there's room. I'd hate to see it die. You know, when I saw the last one where it first started at the very beginning of the movie, and you see the silhouette of them step out, and that silhouette of the hat coming on, I was like, oh yeah, we're about to get some stuff, and then it went downhill from there.
Well, yeah, see, it keeps going downhill. So why would you want to keep going?
Well, the Die Hards. Die Hard 1 was great, then went down. Then Die Hard 4 came out. It was good. So I mean, like, you never know. Right director, the right kind of combination comes.
What do you think about that, Matt? With all the Die Hards, do you think they're actually good?
There's one good Die Hard, and he mentioned it was 4. Other than that, it's just shoot 'em up action. But Daniel, go ahead and tell us why we should keep this franchise going.
Well, I was just going to tell you, I mean, whatever reason for Shia LaBeouf, whatever reason why they got him in on there, that's just a bad choice. I mean, all the way around. I don't think that, I mean, me personally, I would never in a million years, when someone asked me, who do you want to be the guy, and somebody says Shia LaBeouf, I would be like, what? No. I mean, so look, that's just bad. I mean, I think we need to start it over with like somebody that could actually do it and do it right.
Wait, you don't think Shia LaBeouf can act? You don't think he can act?
Not as Raiders. I love him, but not as that character. I mean, to me, that's just, nobody's tossing his name around now for it either. I mean, it's just, I don't know. I don't see him as that character personally. That's just me.
Bethany, who do you see in the role?
He's been in some great stuff.
I have 2. And one I just came up with on the spot when we were talking about like the female-centered ones. I think you could give, if you want to go the route with like a child or something, the way they try to do with Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, I think was the Shia LaBeouf one.
Yeah.
Do a daughter with it. Do that one. I'd like to see like Adria Arjona I think I said her name right. I probably didn't, but she's been in some stuff recently. If you watched, oh, I can't even think of the name of it. It was a Netflix movie. Ben Affleck, Charlie Hunnam, Pedro Pascal, Oscar Isaac, Garrett Hedlund came out like last year. Similar to Extraction. It's one of those military Netflix movies that was really good. She's in it briefly. She's in the season 2 of True Detective. I'd like to see her do it. If we had to go with a guy, I'd want someone a little bit less well known. I mean, Harrison Ford was kind of a big star when he started, doing Indiana Jones because of Star Wars and everything like that. But I'd like to see someone less well known, because I was looking at a poll earlier about who we'd like to see as the next Indy, and it was like Chris Pratt and Chris Evans and Chris Pine, and no Chris Hemsworth. There was Liam Hemsworth, but they left the fourth Chris off. And just big like mainstream Hollywood names now, and I think that you could do something a little bit better with slight, like still have someone with some, familiarity with Hollywood, but like not as much popularity or mainstream like name power, star power, I guess. I'd like to see Aaron Taylor Johnson.
Ooh, I love Aaron Taylor Johnson.
He's an amazing actor. If you see him in anything, he is very briefly in the Marvel franchise, for which I will never forgive Joss Whedon and Kevin Feige for doing, for how they treated that. He's a phenomenal actor. I've never seen him do bad in a role. He even made the Kick-Ass movies a lot of fun. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, I think he could pull it off easily. He's got a nice look. He's got a nice, slightly rugged look when he grows it out. He's a great actor. He's got a great presence. He's very he has just striking looks, and he's your general, well-rounded, like attractive white guy. If you want to have another white guy play Indiana Jones. So,
well, who was the guy that played Gambit for that one?
Taylor Kitsch.
What about someone like Taylor Kitsch? He's a little
Leave my boy alone, Tony. Leave my boy alone. How you forget Taylor Kitsch? I talk about Taylor Kitsch every day. How you forget his name?
Thinking about his look with the fedora. Now he's aged a little bit. I don't like the idea of restarting this character to young. I want him to be like the age of Harrison Ford when they started.
Harrison Ford, like when he started, it was like 30s, right?
Yeah. How old is Kitsch? He's late 30s, right? Somewhere around there?
Mid to late 30s, something like that. Yeah. I mean, you could have it being someone who's like his student, or like one of his students, because he was a professor. I've actually only seen one Indiana Jones movie, to the surprise of no one. You can guess which one it was. It's the worst one, apparently. He's a professor of like archaeology and history and things like that, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, like you could have it being someone who's his student. He doesn't have to be a son, but you could have a student kind of take up the Indiana Jones like moniker. It's like instead of being a vigilante, it's a historian who goes on these wild adventures.
Yeah.
So
well, we're gonna move on to our third topic, and while we move on, we're gonna see if Tony can turn the bass up on his, because he sounds like Darth Vader. So, Jamie Foxx has been bulking up to play Mike Tyson in a new biopic. So I thought, we've done the sports movie, so let's move on to our favorite boxing movie. Mm-hmm. And since Tony already mentioned Rocky earlier, let's hope he found another boxing movie to talk about. We're going to start with Bethany on this one. Bethany.
Ooh, favorite boxing movie. I've got 3. I love I'll put them together, the new Creed movies. The reboot, I guess, of Rocky with Sylvester Stallone and Michael B. Jordan and Tessa Thompson, where Michael B. Jordan plays Apollo Creed's son, Adonis. I love Michael B. Jordan. I think he's got a great range. He's an amazing actor, and he's an amazing athlete in these scenes. And I really enjoyed both of the Creed 1 and Creed 2. So I think those are great movies. They're a lot of fun. I'm not really knowledgeable about boxing or anything like that, so I don't know how truthful they are, but I know Sylvester Stallone is a hardcore boxer, and I know that there was, I think, one scene in the newest Creed where Michael B. Jordan literally got knocked out by the guy who's playing Ivan Drago's son. So Those are always good. You know, if you're really going to take the punch, go for it. Also love $1 Million Baby. Very, like, inspiring, I guess, movie. It's very interesting. You know, it's Clint Eastwood and I can't think of her name now.
Hilary Swank.
Yeah, Hilary Swank. And they have really good chemistry together. I love the movie. There's a really just gut wrench, gut punch in the third act, I guess. The third act of the movie itself is like just it breaks your heart, pulls on your heartstrings and everything like that. And so I won't spoil it if you haven't seen it, but I definitely recommend that one. And I think overall my favorite boxing movie is Jake Gyllenhaal's Southpaw that came out 2015, 2016.
Yeah.
I remember me and my friend went and watched that, and I loved it. I know I did, but also the whole time I'm sitting there like, okay, where is the subplot of this guy like with the gun? Like there's a whole thing in there with the gun and someone being murdered and everything, and it never like comes back into the plot of the movie at all, and like I thought it would. But other than that, you know, amazing movie. Jake Gyllenhaal is one of those actors who like throws himself headfirst every role, really just does the most he can to come across as incredibly authentic and familiar with the world and the character that he's portraying. And he does a really great job. Like the shape he got in for this movie is just insane too. If you like watch his workout videos for this, like he's like like I don't have that dedication. Props to him. He can have all the money. He's got that dedication. Good for you, bro. But yeah, so those 4 technically would be my favorite boxing movies.
All right. Well, you already mentioned what I was going to pick as my number one. So I'll mention another one. $1 Million Baby is definitely my favorite. I love all the drama. The boxing is great in it. The characters from Morgan Freeman to Clint Eastwood, Jay Baruchel, really good performance in that. And then Hilary Swank, like I said, the ending.
She's a phenomenal actress too.
Yeah,
she's insanely talented.
So since you said $1 Million Baby and talked about it, I'll go with Cinderella Man. Cinderella Man with Russell Crowe. Just during the Depression, he's on top of the world, has all this money. Depression hits. Renee Zellweger is his wife. Paul Giamatti is in there with him, and it's just trying to get back to where he was, trying to get out of everything, and just the boxing in it is great. It's set in older times, with the Depression and everything. So it's a really good period piece. And then just off the top of my head, the other one I just thought of is definitely The Fighter. The Fighter is great. It's Christian Bale's best performance in my opinion that he won an Academy Award for. Mark Wahlberg was phenomenal as the boxer in that movie. It's based on a true story. And everything about that, all the acting, Amy Adams, Melissa Leo, all of it was great. So I would definitely have to go with The Fighter, Cinderella Man, and $1 Million Baby. Those are definitely my favorites. So let's move on to Daniel. Daniel, what do you got for us?
Okay, I'm gonna have to pull out the documentary card on this. I love I'm a fan of boxing, I guess. But for me, boxing movies, nothing can compare to a documentary called When We Were Kings. If you want to see a brilliant presentation of history, because like most all of the movies about boxing that exist are based on real people. Well, if you want to see the most quintessential boxing presentation movie, whatever you want to call it, you have to watch that documentary because it's got everybody. It's got Foreman. It's got Ali. It's got everybody. You can't beat this documentary. To me, it's the absolute best presentation. A lot of the movies that we've seen, such as Ali and movies, they take scenes from this documentary or scenes from real life and create those movies. Well, if you want to see the real thing, that's the thing to watch because it's so good. Like nobody, I don't care who you are or what good actor you are, nobody touches Ali as Ali himself. You can't beat it.
Yeah.
So to me, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah, Ollie's
When We Were
iconic.
Kings. Yeah.
Tony?
Well, mine's easy. I'm going to use this as a segue.
Cool.
Bruce Miller. Rocky.
Yes.
So I mean, so here's the thing. I don't like wrestling. I don't like boxing. I don't like any of those sports. So I don't go out of my way to watch those. Honestly, the Rocky series is probably the last series of any movie I've watched that is based around it being boxing. It's not something I'm interested in. So I don't have a lot to go from. I've heard some great things about Creed and some of those things because they kind of continue.
You should definitely watch Creed.
Creed is great.
And I might pick that, but I'm just not a huge fan of either of those two sports. So I find it hard to kind of get wrapped up in it. So I go back to when I was younger and I did catch, I'm sure that someone in the family that was around me was a big fan, and that's how I ended up watching those. And I do remember how great they were. So.
All righty. So those were our boxing movies. We've got Father's Day coming up tomorrow. Everybody wish your father a happy Father's Day tomorrow. So we thought for ourselves, yes, wish Tony right there.
Yeah, Tony, the only dad.
The
dad in the group.
So we thought let's do our favorite movie dads, just in honor of Father's Day. So we're gonna start with you down there, Daniel. Who's your favorite movie dad?
Okay, I did a lot of research on this. I watched a couple of stinkers trying to prepare for this, and like I can't choose those because they're horrible. Like I went through a movie called Come to Daddy. It was awful. It was Elijah Wood. It was bad. It had some pretty good actors in it. It was horrible. So that's not my choice. But I'm going to have to go with one of my all-time favorite movies. And in a roundabout way, it is a great story about a father and a daughter. And that movie is called Paper Moon. It's Ryan O'Neal and Tatum O'Neal. She's basically an orphan child. And Ryan O'Neal shows up at the funeral. And wouldn't you know it, that's her father. You know, her estranged father who she'd never met. He shows up at her mother's funeral. And all the people are going, well, what are we going to do with this little kid? She didn't have a mom anymore. And he says, well, you know, he can take her to Kansas City or St. Louis, Missouri. With him, they go on this amazing journey. And just so happened to be Ryan O'Neal is a swindler, Bible salesman, and he teaches her all the tricks of the trade and cons people out of their money all the way across the country. And, you know, they have a love-hate relationship. You just got to see it. If you've never seen this movie, it is so good. The characters are so good. The way it's presented, it's a timepiece. This was shot in 1974, I believe. But let me tell you, everything about this movie, the characters, the sets, the props, it's brilliant. I mean, it's just a wonderful movie. And if you've never seen it, you got to see it. Ryan O'Neal and Tatum O'Neal, real life father and daughter. So they have the chemistry. And it really comes across on stage. So, I mean, I love that one.
Ooh, that's a good one, Sarah.
Yes, Wolverine. That's really a.
I hadn't even thought about that, but that is, yeah.
Yeah, that's. Oh, that movie.
You're gonna make Bethany cry here.
I know.
All right, Tony. Who's your favorite movie dad? As the only dad here in the group.
Yeah. The authority there.
So I'm an action person, so my stuff is all going to be slanted based on that. But for me, the first one was Liam Neeson. He was playing, the character's name was Brian Mills from Taken. So
I mean, his family kept getting kidnapped, though. Like, at some point, you think, like...
He went across the world to go get his daughter.
I mean, yeah.
He didn't want her to be over there in the first place.
But after the third time it happens, you gotta start reevaluating your life, dude. Like,
but
you gotta quit pointing the finger at other people and point it back at yourself.
Yeah, like, what am I doing wrong as a father?
But I love that. It shows a dad in a much different way than you're used to seeing in your standard parent movies. And the kind of look on her face when he shows up as the one that rescues her, it's really good stuff. I love those. The other one was Bruce Willis playing, what was his character? Harry Stamper from Armageddon. So it's
I thought he was going to go with John McClane there.
I would agree with Armageddon every day.
It starts off with the upset dad and the shotgun, and it just goes from there. it's a great average Joe kind of dad who's put in an unbelievable circumstance, and the things he has to do, the promises he has to make with his kids, and in the end he has to make the hardest decision. So it to me was, it's a movie from way back in the day, but it's a great action flick. It's a great stand-up character. All the characters in it are quirky and different, but they all go together really well. And as far as the dad movie, I mean, it's good. I like that one. So, but one is probably not a normal one, but I remember it impacted me when I saw it because of the way it was done. It's kind of a post-apocalyptic type movie with Viggo Mortensen in, and it's called The Road. So I don't know if any of you guys saw that movie, but it's about I don't even think he gets named as a character in the movie, but he's dealing with a really bad set of circumstances, and his whole goal is just to get this kid through this amazing gauntlet of issues to try and get the kid a better life. And in the end, and if you haven't seen it, it's a gut wrencher. It's an interesting way, the way they tell the story, and what he has to do to make it where that kid has a chance. So that's an interesting take on one too, I thought.
So I was going to go with the father from Taken, Liam Neeson, because he did travel across the world to go get his daughter. But since Tony talked about that, I'll go with the other two that came to mind immediately. One is Will Smith in The Pursuit of Happiness, because he did it with his actual son, Jaden Smith, and what those two went through, and he just fought for him and fought to get the job and had to sleep in the streets and just pray and hope every day that he could feed him, and everything about that movie. Just once you get to the end and he gets the job, and you just breathe and just know that he's gonna be able to take care of his son. So that was very heart-wrenching, and I love him as the dad in that movie. But since Tony stole Liam Neeson, which I figured he should have because he's an action guy, I'm gonna have you pop up that comment that we have right over there, and it's the one that says Chevy Chase in the Vacation series, because Clark W. Griswold, what he goes through in the Vacation series for, especially in the first one for his kids, and the second one in Christmas Vacation for his family. Christmas Vacation is one of my favorite movies of all time, and just to give them the happiest Christmas of all time, he goes above and beyond. He does everything for him, and in the first Vacation movie, he takes him to Wally World. And when it's closed down, he will hold a man at gunpoint just to get him on the rides. Who doesn't love Clark W. Griswold? So I would definitely say Chevy Chase in the Vacation series.
And then we had another post. Let's see. Let's roll that out.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
This is Doubtfire, one of my brother's favorites. That man will just sneak into his ex-wife's house just to see his kids.
Yeah, dresses as the nanny.
So, Bethany, was Hayden Christensen ever a father in anything? Or?
No, I don't think. I mean, he's a dad in real life. I don't think he's played a dad. Speaking of Hayden Christensen, though, we can go definitely with the dad from Life as a House, the movie I mentioned a couple weeks ago about underrated movies. Mm-hmm. He's got terminal cancer, and he's trying to, before he dies, rebuild his relationship with his son, played by Hayden Christensen, and also his estranged wife. So what he does is he has his son, who is very troubled, come live with him for the summer, and they're going to work and rebuild this house. And I won't spoil anything about it. I mean, he has terminal cancer, so that's a slight spoiler. But as for how everything else goes along with it, it's a really great movie. He's a good dad from what I remember, but I have a different dad in mind until Matthew pointed out Hayden Christensen. Marlin from Finding Nemo. This dude swam across the ocean for his kid, and then he did it again for Dory in Finding Dory. Okay, like this dude, like he was committed. Like he has a lot of anxiety issues and everything, considering his entire family was murdered by a barracuda, except for one baby. But I mean, he conquered his fears, and he interacted with sharks and jellyfish and sea turtles and all this kind of stuff.
That's love.
Rescue his kid. Like he was not stopping until he got that kid back. Okay, like best dad ever. And also, when I was doing my research for this, like one of the lists, like several of the lists actually recommended Darth Vader as the dad. And I was
Which
like,
if you pop up
hold on a second here.
Philip's comment here.
Okay, let's dissect this real quick. Okay, I love Anakin Skywalker and Darth Vader. That's my dude. But no, like he tortured his daughter. Albeit he didn't know that it was his daughter, but he still tortured his daughter. He cut off his son's hand, even though he knew that was his son. He enslaved the galaxy and put in a fascist dictatorship. Enslaved Wookiees and so many different alien races, and like he only redeemed himself because of his son's love for him. So let's talk about best son, okay? Luke Skywalker, best son, never gave up on his dad, okay? Like that's what it should be. I mean, Darth Vader did save him from dying. He did bring balance to the Force by killing Palpatine, but no, he's not the best dad. He needed a lot of work.
We have another comment over here about Mufasa from the Lion King.
No.
And now we all have to cry on screen. So thanks, boss, for that. Mufasa was great. If his son
James
just
Earl
listened to him
Jones,
and did what he told him to do, that story would have been a lot better for him.
yeah, but you know what? Simba redeems himself. He's a pretty good dad. I mean, he has his moments, but he becomes a good dad. So he lived up to Mufasa.
All right. So that was our favorite movie dads. So I was told we need a little bit more controversy in the show. We need to fight a little bit more. So I thought, what better to make us fight than do a movie review for Cats? Now, we actually did do this. We actually sat in the circle and we did a 360 review for Cats. It just has not been created yet. So I'm like, let's just do it here for our live audience and let's talk about Cats. I'm going to go ahead and I'll go first, just because I feel like I need to get this out there. I'm a huge fan of musicals. It's my favorite genre of movie. And Cats is not a bad movie. It's not a great movie, but it is not a bad movie by any stretch. Most people got hung up on the bad CGI, which didn't look great, but it wouldn't have looked great if they just dressed up as cats anyway. So that I can look past the CGI. Okay, then let me look at my next worst part of the movie. It was definitely James Corden and Rebel Wilson doing their comedic shtick as they like to do. They brought nothing to the movie except fart jokes that you would bring into a comedy. So you take them out of the movie, it gets a little bit better from there. But the music is top notch, and it's sang beautifully by the actors, especially Jennifer Hudson. She's
phenomenal.
She kills the song Memory at the end, and it's moving. And then I don't know all of their names, but the one who does Mr. Mistopheles, that song is great.
He was very good.
Playing Rum Tug Tugger, that was great. Admittedly, Judi Dench and Ian McKellen, maybe don't cast them. They're at the top of acting, and they didn't need to be in this. But Taylor Swift sang great. Idris Elba was a great villain. The movie it went through just like it was supposed to. It cared. It had a message. The best cat gets to win and go on to the cat heaven, I guess, is where they went.
Sacrifice.
The movie is not a terrible movie. With that said, let's hear what Tony has to say.
All right, hold on 1 second. I was going to bring up the trailer and let it play, but I'm not going to for a second.
Let's just hear what you guys say, Tony.
All right, so I'm not a musical fan. I don't watch musicals. The first musical I've ever really watched was The Greatest Showman, which
best musical ever.
That Matt talked me into watching, and I was blown away. Loved it, and thought, hey, maybe as average Joe likes action movies, I've been missing out. So Cats comes down the pipe, and we're like, hey, we're gonna go watch Cats, and he's all excited for it. I'm like, hey, let's do it. I like this last musical, maybe I'll like this, and it easily has been the worst movie I've ever seen. And I don't mean that mean. I mean it was uncomfortable to watch. the way they portray, we have a cat, we have dogs, we have all these things here, and they don't act anything like you see in these movies. I mean, and let me do a quick couple quotes. So I jumped online just as a little research, and Rotten Tomatoes currently has it at 21%.
Yeah, but they gave The Greatest Showman like a 13%. So
Chris
what do
Tuckman,
they know?
who's a great reviewer, says nothing redeeming, insanely boring, hated the CG, embarrassing movie that never should have been made. The Guardian's review said will haunt viewers for generations. Variety said 9 lives may not be enough for the stars to live down their involvement in this poorly conceived and executed adaptation. The BBC called it a catastrophe. Rolling Stone, a Broadway musical adaptation straight out of the litter box. I mean, you had Rebel, you had Dancing with Cockroaches, you had Ian McKellen licking milk out of a bowl, which is probably one of the things that will haunt you for a while. So I literally sleep during the movie. I got so bored with it. It was almost like The Greatest Showman told a story, and there was acting, and there was something moving the story down the road, and then the songs came in and magnified it, made it better. There was none of that in this. It was straight from song to song, and it was hard to follow where they were headed with it. I literally got bored, and then and so for me, the few highlights was Jennifer Hudson. Oh my gosh, the girl can sing. But they underused her. She's in like 2 major scenes, and that's it.
That's what she's supposed to be.
Oh, okay, great. But your best person in the whole scene is only in the movie for 4 minutes.
Yeah.
Then Francesca Hayward, the person that plays Victoria the White Cat, mesmerizing. Totally. When she was in the scene, I was focused on her. She stole every scene she was in. She was the highlight, I thought, at least from a cat. From all the cats in the scene, she was the least distracting, the most connected, and the most giving with her in the way she gave her looks and the way she kind of worked the camera. I really felt like I was connected with her. The rest of them, I could not connect with at all. It was just a weird hodgepodge of caricatures of what cats would do, but not what cats do. So I really, really disliked it. And so there are a lot of movies I'll go, oh, if that ever comes on, I'll catch it on TV and I'll rewatch it. I will never watch that movie. I even was gonna go back and just look at some trailers to refresh myself, and I started doing it. I went, no.
Daniel, tell this man how wrong he is.
Okay. All right. No, I can. Let me just say this. To me, there is some merit to what you're saying, but from my point of view, I can just say this. To me, the problem with this movie is that it tried to keep the stage. Yes, a lot of the scenes were in that one spot, in that one area, much like the Broadway play version of it. If they would have got off of the stage and put it out into the real world, but yet kept the same stuff, I don't believe that. No, but if they would have kept the same story, the same script, the same characters, everything, and got off of the stage and put it into the real world, this movie would have been like absolutely amazing. But let me just say this. If you loved Cats, the Broadway production, there is no way in the world that you could hate this movie. Like, this movie is brilliant. The acting, the singing, the performances, the story itself,
Whoa. Did you just say the movie is brilliant?
It really is. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I just don't think we've seen the same movie. I don't know. But like, who were the comedic? Rebel Wilson and
James Corden.
James Corden. Those were like some of the best scenes ever because, like, I mean, the dude was like running around. I mean, to me, they broke off the stage. They got into their whole comedic moments. They brought so much to those characters in the story. It was brilliant. And then the old cats, Ian McKellen, and what's
Judi Dench? You don't know Judi Dench's name? Oh,
I do. I'm just in the moment right now. I'm sorry, but like those two, they're like absolutely brilliant. I mean, those are like some of the most brilliant actors ever, and now we have them as those characters recorded on screen forever. We can relive their brilliant performances, and
Brilliant.
to me, it's just
Brilliant 5 times.
it's really good. Like
With that word.
I love the movie. I love the movie. I thought it was great. The tap dancing scene was the absolute best scene ever.
I won't go
but you have to be open to that kind of stuff. If you hate the Cats, the musical, you will hate the movie. If you love the Broadway play, you'll love this because it's just so much more. The costumes are better. It's just, I don't know.
Tony's going to bring us more comments about looks like a lot of people hated this, but he'll bring us some comments here. Bethany, be nice.
I mean, Matt and Daniel, y'all are entitled to your wrong opinions, but yeah, like it's not a good movie. I've never seen the Broadway play. Apparently. No, it's not even brilliant. Okay, it's not like it's like there's no logic in this movie, and I think movies need to have a relative amount of logic to them. It has no logic. Where's the logic? Okay, there was none. I showed up I missed the first 5 minutes of the movie, but that doesn't tell me anything. Okay, I have two things really to take away from the audience that I was watching the movie with. One was the lady behind me who howled with laughter at every single thing that happened in this movie. I mean, she was not trying to hide it. She was just howling with laughter. And then the child with her, who every time a song started, they're singing again. And it's like that kid has never heard of what a musical is called, okay? But as for the movie itself, the only highlight of this movie is Francesca Hayward and Jennifer Hudson, okay? Francesca Hayward, I don't recall any of her singing. Very briefly, memories that didn't leave an impact me. On her presence left an impact. I think she's very good. I think she's going to have a great career. Jennifer Hudson, of course, stole every single scene that she's in. I only wanted really to see this movie to see her sing Memories because I remember seeing it in the trailers and it gave me chills in the trailers and I was like, okay, well maybe there's more something to this movie. If she is a main character, cool. Like Tony said, she's in there for 5 minutes. Why would you have your strongest character and your strongest actor? No offense to Ian McKellen and Judi Dench, who are legends, but she's literally
She got so mad she froze on us here.
Okay, I'm back. The internet. They try to take me out for telling the truth. Okay, I'm right. Okay, Jennifer Hudson carried this movie on her back. No one else deserves any credit for this movie. Idris Elba was very uncomfortable to look at. I love Idris Elba. That is a gorgeous man. He looks naked. Okay? He was the only cat with short hair and it made him look naked and it was very uncomfortable. Also, Ian McKellen lapping milk from a bowl while standing on his 2 human feet is up there with Luke Skywalker milking that space cow in The Last Jedi, okay? Those are 2 horrifying images that I will never be able to get rid of from my mind, okay? I need you to understand that just because you liked this play and you think it's cool, you lied to me, Matt, okay?
I didn't lie.
You did. You messaged us in the group chat and you were like, this movie is amazing, okay? And me and Tony, we were conned. We were conned.
First off, Tony hates musicals. And I only got him to watch The Greatest Showman because I begged him to do so. But every time we watch a trailer, Tony will. I'll be like, that looks really good. And Tony's like, well, is that a musical? No, that's a no from me. So Tony doesn't give musicals a chance. So I knew Tony wasn't going to enjoy this at all. Here's the thing. I felt so moved by Jennifer Hudson's performance of Memory that Daniel and I went and saw the movie together. And I think we might have been the only 2 people in there.
And you guys lied to us.
Didn't like the movie going already. So when she hits those notes and everything, I felt it. I felt it right here. And then I went home.
I did too, but
I went home.
4 minutes does not redeem an hour and a half of garbage.
I went home and got Jamie, and I came right back and watched it again. I enjoyed everything about it, other than some of those parts from the comedic chops of it. It wasn't a terrible movie, especially if you love musicals like I do.
No, it was a bad movie. I like musicals, okay? Like, I mean, I may only know like High School Musical and The Greatest Showman, but I know when something is good and I know when something is bad. Okay. Suicide Squad, bad movie.
Yeah.
Cats, bad movie. I've seen Les Miserables. I've seen Broadway brought to movie. That is a good movie. Les Miserables is good. Phantom of the Opera is good. The Lion King is good. This is not good. Okay. This is a fever dream of a man that was doing acid. Like, he was dropping tab after tab after tab of acid, and it didn't even exist when this play was created. Okay, it's just a series of poems someone strung together into making a movie and a play, and it has no purpose. This is someone who is a furry. Okay, this is someone who has a weird obsession with cats and animals, and I'm uncomfortable with this. Like, that they need to be investigated. I don't care if they're dead; they need to be investigated.
I mean,
Can I say this?
It was just bad execution of the way they portrayed the cats. It's almost like they tried to be on a stage. You have to overact. You have to project to get out to the audience.
Yeah.
On film, you don't have to do that. But it's almost like they even overdid what you do on the stage, and it comes off way too much and way too trying too hard. And then you wrap that around the really weird choice of CGI that they did to put them inside the cats' bodies and stuff, and it just and then wrap that around no story. I mean, it just fails on everything. And the problem is, you had me come right out of The Greatest Showman, which I'm hearing is one of the best musicals ever.
That's great.
To walking into the Cats, which is by no measure of, I mean, the world has spoken and said it's one of the worst. So you're being generous. And I don't even know. I have to go look up brilliant now in the dictionary.
Daniel, hit us with that final word.
I just want to say, Andrew Lloyd Webber. Okay, he's done so many amazing musicals and movies, and this is just one of them. I mean, and he's got a lot of crazy synthesizer stuff, which I think throw a little people off too. But he's brilliant. He's a genius. When he dies, I don't know if he's even still alive, but they'll probably study his brain. He's right up there with Einstein as far as his brilliance, as far as combining music and scenes and imagery together and making people feel emotions. I can just say this: if you did not feel something when you watched Jennifer Hudson sing that song, you are not a human being. And if you did, you have to recognize the brilliance of this movie.
Okay, but no one's saying that they didn't feel something when they saw Jennifer Hudson sing. We're all in agreement that we felt something, that she made us feel. No one else in that movie made us feel the way Jennifer Hudson made us feel, okay? Andrew Lloyd Webber is still alive. And if you will recall the other week when we were discussing Christopher Nolan movies, and all three of you are like, I don't think Christopher Nolan can have a bad movie, except for this one, which was Dunkirk, which I will heavily disagree with. Great movie, okay? Andrew Lloyd Webber has a stinker here. This is his Dunkirk, according to you. It's not good. You want a controversy? I'm bringing it. I'm heated.
I'm gonna reel it back in just because we're about to run out of time here. Just real quick, we had one more question over here. Just we've heard from Bethany. I'm sure Tony would have the same answer. What's your favorite musical? I'm sure from Tony and Bethany it'd both be The Greatest Showman.
Yeah, easily. Yeah, I mean, I've only seen two, and one was the worst ever made, and one was the best.
So, for me, Mamma Mia is second, but Grease is definitely my favorite musical of all time. Grease is definitely take the top spot. Daniel, what was your favorite?
Okay, what's the movie when they were set in the Alps and they said, and they sang
The Sound of Music?
The Sound of Music?
The Sound of Music is the greatest musical of all times. The Sound of Music. That's just me.
Alrighty, so that is our show. I hope you enjoyed a lot of the fighting going on around here. We're probably going to be back sometime this week with all new topics, and I'll find another controversial review for us to do to get us all fired up. But what did you guys think? Leave us a like on the page, some comments down below. Follow us at movierounders.com. And thank you for watching tonight's episode. Matt, Bethany, Tony, and Daniel, Movie Rounders, where we watch movies and now do them live for you. So, thanks for watching. Good night, guys.
Cat sucks. Cat sucks. Cat sucks. Cat
We love everyone.
Cats.
sucks. 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 Sucks.